Hello and welcome. I am Silar Arcat, and this is my first video tutorial where I'm going to try to explain some brushes that I made for my Patreon. Before that, let me thank you for your support. Secondly, I am not a pro artist, so take my advice with a grain of salt. And first, I need to address that this, in order to be achieved the way that I do it, you need to have the default settings for your tablet. So if you have an XP pen like me, try to have everything on default. And I disabled the Windows Ink option because that messes everything up. And the tablet settings also needs to be on default. For me, I use WinTab. It works for me fine. And the pen pressure settings, if you have something like that or that, reset to default and you're good to go. Like if you have your own settings and you work with that, it works for you, you're fine. But if you wanna achieve the way I did it, it needs to be everything on default. So let me begin with this question right here. Are brushes important? And this was a question that I made on different YouTube channels and also live Twitch streams to pro artists. Well, people that I consider they're pro because they're very good at art. And the answer, most of them were the brushes are not important. And I think I understand why they say so, because they said that doesn't matter what kind of brushes you use if you don't understand your fundamentals first. Using a different brush won't matter, and that's valid. But I disagree in one level, that I believe myself that there are some brushes that help baby artists like me to speed up the process without skipping the important parts, because I understand they want you to do everything, like paint with a hard edge brush and then blur it yourself using the blur tool and stuff. But I am lazy in my work, I'm not going to lie, and I like to have some liberties to make work but having the same outcome. Sorry, I just hit the mic there. So yeah, that is the first question. Let me move on to the second one. And the second question would be what kind of brushes you like, because some people like to use the old way, which is painting something, do all the work, and then come back and use their smudge tool or the blur tool and render everything out, which is valid. Again, I'm not saying this is bad at all. I'm just lazy and I want to save more time. If I can do that in one go and then come back later, that works for me. But if that's not the way you think, you can take your time and do how you like. And part of me mentioning this is because for the longest time I seen a lot of Instagram, Twitter, and maybe even YouTube channels promoting brushes on mostly iPad for the Procreate, and also the versions for Clip Studio Paint, with a lot of misinformation and basically people getting scammed for brushes that they don't work like they were promoting it. Because there are like two kind of brushes, we can say. Just the basic or the default brushes, like the hard edge brush. You also have your soft brush, and also the pre-rendered one, which is the the one that also do the whole job for you, and saves a lot of time for you. For example, this one for patterns, which it's fine. I mean, you save a lot of time. You can use it. Those are your tools you have available. That is perfect. But it's important for you to recognize that a brush won't give you a skill, that it will require a lot of time for you to adapt to it, in order for you to understand it, in order for you to master it. Moving on to point number 3, it's the artists. Yes, for this point we need at least 1 or 2, I have 3 artists to get inspiration from. And getting inspiration from artists is absolutely valid. So if you think you're cheating or ripping them off, you are not. As long you are putting your own essence in the painting or in the piece you're working on. Let me start with Roseville Art, which is a Twitch streamer that does absolute very cute, colorful art. And then we have Tofu Bear, which is also an amazing artist that makes very nice pieces, very colorful, beautiful overall. And Oni Kansei, which is Maki. She's very amazing artist too. I love the way she does coloring. And I took one little bit from each of them, and I use it on myself and I apply it. And now I'm kinda knowing better because of them, because they also give me very nice feedback every time I did my dumb questions, and it was very useful. It helped me learn from my mistakes and able to understand a little bit more of art. So yeah, by studying each one of them, you will find yourself in the middle right there. So again, this is valid. And this is also a Legend of Zelda reference. Okay, there you are. Anyway, moving on. The implementation for each one of them. First of all, let me start with Roseville. She uses a very unique way to do the shading or the painting, because she uses very opaque brushes. I entered her chat one day and asked her what kind of brushes she uses, and she answered me that she uses this kind of brushes from Leviathan. They have a paywall, so I cannot share this with you, but basically these are brushes that are semi-opaque and give you this very nice colors, and semi-opaque allows you to do your work and then come back to use your smudge tool or your feathering or blur tool and render everything out. And then we have Tofu Bear, which is also unique the way they paint. If you haven't, go watch the video how to draw and paint soft tummies. They have a link where you're able to download the brush pack, and it's very useful. They use this technique that I copied from them. I straight copied, using a brush to paint and also dissolve or blend together. And also we have Maki, which she uses a lot of layer effects. For example, we have a cyan, a white, and a black color in the middle. So if you use the overlay option right now, it will blend together, making a new set of colors. And that's the way she uses it when she's painting clothing and some other parts on the body, like the hair too. And it's very useful, and you learn from that the more you draw. So let me move on to my fourth and last point, which are the brushes. I'm sorry for that last part. The audio sounds crispy. I'm editing this as I'm recording it because I'm very bad. I apologize. But yeah, let me move on to the brushes. The first one is very simple, self-explanatory. Is the liner brush. With this one, you can use the one that you feel comfortable with, but this is something that I like because I like a liner that is very well defined, but the edges aren't like too sharp. Look at that, it looks soft. It has some opacity as well, so if you paint over, it will look like that. But again, this is my liking. If you don't like that, you can use default G pen or Tuni pen on Clip Studio Paint. That's fair as well. So the more details you add, the better it will look. And if you take your time, this is the very fast drawing that I did for this tutorial, but if you take your time, you can make very nice line art. And also you can use the coloring brush, this one. If you set it on 15, you can also use it at anything. Can be a line art brush if you are brave enough. But yeah, moving on to the second one is a brush that it took me the longest, because I really like brushes that are like solid, but they are not very sharp. For example, look at this at the beginning here. It has some opacity. It's not the same if you use a hard brush. There is no opacity at all. And I like this because I can play around with the layers. For example, I come here and I try to paint over. But if I want to make it softer, you know, I can always use soft pressure on my pen and it will look softer. Let me look a good color here. 1 second. Okay, so then again, it's a brush that is very helpful to paint very big sections on your drawing. It's solid. It can be a little bit softer if you want to. If you use the right amount of pen pressure. So it's there, you know, it exists. It's there for your convenience. Always a very nice advice that I can give you is don't always use the eraser to delete some parts, because the eraser can be very sharp. It will delete most of the sections, but if you use the same color you were painting with and you swap to the alpha or the transparent color, you can use the same brush, so you don't lose a lot of time. And you know, that option is very good if you want to save a little bit of time. But yeah, when I say the alpha or the opaque transparent color, it is this one. We have the first color, the second, and the alpha. I think it's assigned with the letter C by default. I am not sure. Play around with the shortcut settings right there and try to assign to one key that you like or you will use the most. Now for this one, it's going to be a little bit more complicated because here is where my artists come into play, because here is where everything makes sense. So we have the third brush, which is called Paint and Dissolve, which is basically what it does. I try to name it like something obvious so I don't stall too much. But yeah, if you have this brush, you can save a lot of time, because once you're painting, if you use it with a lot of pressure, you have a very good coloring. But if you change your pen pressure, like if you go lighter and lighter, you can see how it is dissolving right there. So that is something that I really think that is handy. It makes me not swap into the blower or a smudge tool too much. And then again, it's something that I implemented on myself, and I can no longer live without it. This brush has the ability to paint in solid colors and also almost dissolve everything. So be careful how to use it. Do not overuse it too much. Now for the fourth brush. Okay, now for this brush, it will depend a lot in how do you render the hair. Again, this is going to be very fast because I want to go over it quickly and simple. But it's a brush that does what is written right there. It goes from hard to soft. It also works the other way around. So if you go hard to light, light to hard, it makes your brush strokes semi-opaque. It's very useful if you like to draw hair this way by making a gradient, then setting a multiply layer, and just do your hair. And now the color thinner brush, which is basically a tool that allows you to thin or give opacity to the color in the layer you're working on. And by making this, you're adding less value and combining it with the color below, aka saving a little bit of time of you using the color picker or the color wheel, and making a good transition between those colors without making it look ugly or out of the same contrast. So here, if I go here to the hair and I go in the edges and I paint it, it's giving me the same color but a lighter value because it's combining the layer below and the layer on top, so it can give me this very nice looking shading. And this is saving me more time instead of me going to the color picker over here, and I can do work faster, having the same result that it will be for me moving it this color to something lighter. So that's the idea behind it, and it works for both for the hair and also the skin, which I'm going to use right here. For example, if I want to make this layer right here more opaque, can do that, just to add more details. It's a little bit subtle, but it works. And if you use it on the right conditions, you can also use it to do a lot more. So I've been exploring this tool. It's a mystery for me, but I'm dying to continue using and see what else I can bring up. So yeah, if you use it, good luck with it. It's very nice. I hope you can understand it before me. And show me your art pieces, please. And basically the last brush, because this doesn't have a lot of things to add, is the hard brush, which is basically a default G pen that I modified for for the way that I like the things to look like. So if I go here and, for example, pick this cyan color and do my highlights. This brush is thought to be used to paint very large sections without opacity, so it's there. You know, you will always will use it sometimes. It's going to be there for you, and you can combine it with the official last brush, which is the Blur Uncapped. And I name it like that because if you can go over here and turn on the pen pressure, you can apply the blur to the tip of the brush. But since I don't have it, I can apply it to a larger scale. You know, I can feather on top here and there. Let me change this to Blow Dosh. And you know it's there. Yeah, but that's it. Those are the brushes and their intended function. If you have any other question, if you think it's too complicated, or if you have any doubts, just let me know. I think they are user friendly and I hope they help somebody. If you have an art piece that you want me to see later on, just tag me or just message me. I'll be happy to see your artwork and how it progress. I hope you are doing good and try to not give up, because that's a big mistake that I did, and I won't advise anybody to discontinue their art journey. So yeah, I hope you're doing good. Thank you for watching and have a great day.